Well, the New South Wales Education Minister, Sarah Mitchell, joins me. I have problems with all of this. Sarah Mitchell, thank you for your time. You've heard what I said about the dishonest ravings of Greta Thunberg at the United Nations Climate Summit. Do you know that Corpus Christi Catholic High School at Oak Flats in the Illawarra has taught the Greta Thunberg propaganda in Year 7 English? Should they be?
Oh, look, I didn't know that, Alan. I mean, obviously, if they're a Catholic school, it's run by their system. But I agree with your point. You know, we've got to be teaching kids to be hopeful about the future and not being alarmist. I've got strong views on politics not being in the classroom, as you know. And, you know, if that's something that's happened at a Catholic school, obviously that's
no, but I mean, you're responsible.
But, you know, I can see why that's concerning.
You're responsible for the education of all kids in New South Wales, and they must meet certain curriculum standards. I mean, do you know that Kirrawee High School, Year 8, personal development, health and physical education, the students were shown a questionnaire asking, when and how did you first decide you were heterosexual? 13-year-old girls and boys. It's creepy stuff. Or, to whom have you disclosed your heterosexual tendencies? Do you know about this?
Yeah, I did say that, Alan, and I think that's really, you know, disappointing. That shouldn't be in a classroom.
But what have you done? What have you done?
When that was brought to my... Yeah, so that obviously that material has been removed from that classroom. We've got very strong rules around...
Did you speak, did someone speak to that school?
Curriculum. None of that's in the curriculum.
I know that. The Safe Schools program, Minister, has been abolished in New South Wales. Why would Oberon High be distributing Safe Schools program guides and other gender fluidity material to staff? Why would they?
Well, they shouldn't be doing it. It's clearly in breach of that policy. You're right.
I know that, but what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
What are you doing about it?
Well, obviously, Alan, we've got very clear guidelines to schools. You know, that sort of behaviour is not acceptable. Those sort of information shouldn't be going out to our students. I agree with you. It's not good enough.
But why don't you pick up the phone?
Make sure that there are ramifications for that.
Why don't you pick up the phone and talk to the principal of Oberon High tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, obviously we need to stop schools who are doing the wrong thing and sending out and using material
this is happening on your watch.
It's not acceptable.
But it's not. I know it's not.
Well, I think, Alan, you know...
I mean, is it appropriate that Wallacia Public School had a Wear It Purple Day and the school and your Department of Education labelled infants and primary students in photographs as young rainbow people, 5-year-olds?
Well, I think with that example, Alan, I mean, obviously schools, you know, have certain days reflecting their local communities. I'm not aware of any complaints from parents about that particular one, and I think some of those families do identify in that way. But look, for me, the focus, as you know, it's got to be on teaching and learning. It's got to be on reading, writing, maths.
We know, Sarah, we know all of that. We know all that. It's not happening. How many staff do you have?
About 70,000 permanent teachers, Alan.
No. Private staff in your office.
About 10.
Right. This stuff has all been raised in the Parliament of New South Wales. Why wouldn't a staff member say this has to be done and these schools have to be spoken to? I mean, you've said we shouldn't have politics in the classroom. This year we learned of a teacher at Linfield Learning Village running lessons on Black Lives Matter. Is that appropriate?
No, not at all. I'm appalled by that. And that poster that was displayed is entirely inappropriate.
But what did you do?
To every single person in the police force.
What did you do?
That particular matter, Alan's under investigation now for disciplinary action. That's appropriate, you know. That sort of thing cannot happen. Happen.
I know, but Sarah Mitchell, it has happened. What do you mean under investigation? This was weeks and weeks ago. Students wrote "Stop Killer Cops, Pigs Out of the Country." That's in relation to police. White Lives Matter too much. And they displayed the posters. You said there'd be a review. Why would you need a review? Why wouldn't you ring the principal of Linfield Learning College up and say, you're gone? You're gone.
So
why do you need a review?
Yeah, the principal's been spoken to because they need to look at what the disciplinary action can be taken, Alan, in terms of their employment. That's obviously through the department. It's off at the Ethical Standards Division of the department to have a look at. I was appalled by that poster. I said that
we were all appalled.
You know, it is not okay. It's not okay.
We want to know what you're doing. I mean, the school has a website. They posted these messages, unapologetic and unrepentant. An 11-year-old writing on a poster, "White Lives Matter too much." Why shouldn't the principal and the teacher be sacked?
Well, that's why it's being looked into, Alan, and I'm awaiting that advice around what disciplinary action we can take.
OK, so I'll be able to see what the review provides? God, a review that takes 6 weeks. Give me a break. What?
Well, I'm waiting for that and I'm expecting it very soon.
OK, Newtown North Public School, the after-school care staff encouraged small children to write hateful and what turned out to be misspelt comments about Donald Trump. They were displayed on the sign-out desk for parents to see, 5 and 6-year-olds. I mean, are you aware at Albion Park High School, students were encouraged to kneel in homage to Black Lives Matter, an openly neo-Marxist organisation? Do you know about that?
Yeah, I'm aware of that. And again, not appropriate and not something that should be happening.
We know
in
that.
schools.
What have you done?
I've made it clear to not have that politicisation.
Oh, they're taking no notice of you. They're taking no notice of you.
Well, look, yeah, I mean, I've been really strong on it, but I also think that, you know, that there is more that we clearly need to do. And I think that every time that these examples are raised, we've got 2,200 schools across the state, Alan. Many of them are doing good things and doing the right things, but occasionally you have these issues that aren't acceptable. And we do need to look at the teeth in that policy. We need to look at the disciplinary action that we can take. You know, I agree with you. A lot of this is just unacceptable.
Yeah, but the public watching you are wondering what the hell is going on. Why are we teaching Greta Thunberg in the classroom, who tells the world that our generation have stolen my dreams, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing, we're at the beginning of a mass extinction? Do you understand that you're failing our children by not addressing this rubbish?
Well, Alan, what I'm doing is focusing on making sure students are leaving school, having the focus on reading, writing, arithmetic, getting back to those core
But that is
issues.
not the
because
focus.
as minister and as a parent, But that is my focus, and I've made it very clear. We've got a school success model in New South Wales.
But is this happening?
Every school has targets now. We've got accountability for education outcomes, and that's really important.
No, we don't. Sarah,
we haven't had that for years.
We don't have accountability because you talk about it. We only have accountability if you make people accountable. If you ring these high schools and say, not only won't this go on, but your job is on the line. I mean, I've got talented young people working for me who don't know what a sentence is. They don't know where to put a full stop. They're talented people. I mean, do you know what a sentence is?
I do. And look, Alan, I understand what you're saying, and I think for me...
But do you know what a sentence is? You're the minister.
We've got a school success...
If a pupil said to you...
now...
You're the Education Minister. If a pupil said to you, Minister, what is a sentence? I'm supposed to write in sentences. What is a sentence? What would you say?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously a sentence has to have a capital, a full stop. It's got to have the right grammar and spelling. It has to make sense in terms of the context, whether it's a narrative piece. But I guess my point to you, Alan, is that what we need to do is make sure every school has accountability. I've brought in the school success model. Every single school in New South Wales has targets around... But it's not, Alan, because it's about having accountability in the system. It is.
Look, I'll tell you, by the way,
we'll have to agree to disagree.
By the way, a sentence is a complete thought expressed in words. It's got nothing to do with capitals or anything. Sentence is a complete thought. Do you know this Mural Dizdar?
Murat Dizdar is one of the staff in the department.
That's it. He's one of your departmental senior officials in charge of school performance. And he tweeted on Monday, I was lucky to visit Marrickville West Public School to watch students give an acknowledgement of country in 5 languages and watch KB, that's kindergarten, sing about the importance of reconciliation. Hey? Is that appropriate? Primary students...
Well, look, I think, it's Reconciliation Week. Schools are obviously acknowledging that. And I think it's important, as I said, each and every school has targets around outcomes, reading, writing, arithmetic, phonics, teaching children how to read. That's what we're focusing on. And I'm really clear about that. I've made it clear to the whole executive. That's my priority.
Just because you say it isn't happening. Before I go, do you know this Dizdar is in charge of Walgett High School, where 6 students were suspended on one day? And earlier this year, teachers walked off the job to protest about violent attacks on them and their cars. What have you done about it?
Yeah, so we're looking at what we need to do out at Walgett, Alan. Obviously, very challenging community out there. We've got to have good staff and we've got to support them. And I think it's important that we focus on helping those kids, particularly through education. That's going to be the great enabler for kids in Walgett. And we've got to make sure we do better by them in that school community. OK, well, look, Sarah, I'd have to say to you, Sarah Mitchell, if all of that was happening, we wouldn't be 16th in the world for reading, and taxpayers wouldn't feel that they're wasting $100,000 million on education. They're not getting their money's worth. But thank you for talking to us. It helps. I hope we can talk again. There she is, Sarah Mitchell. Thanks, Alan. Appreciate it.
Not at all. She's the New South Wales Minister for Education.